All right, clutch install replacement, 2016 rsv4, Aprilia rsv4 RF with, I got 25,000 miles on it now. Valve check was done at 12,500, all the maintenance. Actually, I just got my spanner wrench on the dash, so I am due for my 25,000 mile valve job, or valve check. 20,000 miles on the OEM clutch, and then I put in a Barnett racing clutch, and this lasted about 4,000 miles. And then a couple weeks ago, it went, I think I used the launch control a couple too many times in a row, about 30 seconds in between each use, and about 7-8 times, and I could feel it starting to slip after that. So now we ordered EBC, the SRK kit, and we're gonna throw that guy in now and kind of see what the difference is gonna be between that Barnett that I just put in actually about a couple months ago. I do a lot of riding, and then the EBC. So the question I'm having though is, I got a little bit of wiggle on this upper basket. Here, I'll show you. This upper basket here, I don't know if it's supposed to be loose, because that actually goes back to that gear, which is bolted with the main hub nut, bolt, whatever you want to call it. Once I take the clutch basket out, you can see that bigger bolt inside. So I got everything apart already. Got all my bolts spread around where they go, because there are a couple different sizes in there. Got my cover already off. Well, basically, I loosened it up, or tightened it up, you would say, but loosening the clutch cable, but tightening the clutch perch there. Give me a little slack. Loosened up this end of the clutch. I just got it tucked up underneath to stay out of the way for now. Pulled that out of there. Pulled it off of here. And then this guy, kind of a neat little trick, is when you go to pull it off, tap it with the mallet on the top, a couple more taps underneath just to loosen it up. But you spin this guy out and it'll actually kind of pop this thing out and away, just a hair, just breaks it free, and then you can take it all off. Okay, and like I said, always keep track of where all the bolts and everything go, so I got that set up there. So the day in question with the launch control, I noticed when I undid the dipstick, it was smoking pretty good, and now I've got some of these little grooves in here, and this is when I noticed this is actually loose. You can see it a little bit. So next little video clip, we're gonna actually take this basket right apart. I already broke free all these springs. I probably will reuse the Barnett springs with the EBC plates. I've heard the Barnetts are the stiffest strings, which will give you the best bite. I do a lot of clutch up wheelies also, so I like as much bite as I can get. So let's see what that looks like when we get that off. All right, so we got them all out, and I do see one problem is they never did the little notch right there on this nut that's supposed to keep it from spinning out. So, but that's basically taking apart a clutch. And so I'm gonna do a little research on the torque specs and see what that's supposed to be at. There's no wiggle on that, but it's this actual outer basket with the gears. So let me figure it out, and then that way I can grab all my torque specs too for putting the springs and everything back on and all those nuts. So to go in between it. Okay, so let's start putting it together. Actually, I think the EBC looks like it has a little closer tolerance compared to the Barnett anyways. So we're gonna start off with the regular friction plate. That's gonna go in there. And then you're gonna wanna use that judder spring which is an actual separate part number if you're ordering from AF1, or you can reuse the judder spring that comes with the OEM. So now once you get that, then you've got these two rings that you got to put in. And I always stack everything completely in order to the way I took it off. So that way I have a reference point. So those guys went like that. Now you're gonna grab that one that's just a little bit of a bigger outer circumference. Okay, like I said, the Barnett was actually quite a bit bigger. But the EBC looks like it's a little better tolerances, but it should still fit actually all the way around outside. Those two big flat washers. I don't know if you can see in there. So that's the outer bigger friction plate, and then inside you can actually see there's two kind of just smaller plates, real thin. From what I'm told, that's part of the actual slipper clutch. So I'm not sure if that's true or not. Okay, so we got the first friction, we got that judder plate, we got those the two little slipper clutch kind of spring washers, and then now we just start stacking normal. So you should have 8 friction plates and 8 steels after you get past that that judder. Okay, so that's 1 steel, 1 friction, 1 steel,
or 2 steel. This is going to be 2 friction. This is going to be 3 steel. This will be 3 friction. You have 4 steel. 4 friction. 5 steel. Now, you do everything right, you should end up with 8 and end up with a friction. That's 5 friction. 6 steel. 6 friction. 7 steel. 7 friction. 8 steel. And 8
friction. You know, I've heard a couple of people say you should offset this last friction, but obviously, I mean, there's no different way to offset it. So you just put that in, you should end with that. Now I do have an extra steel, and I think actually on the directions, or on AF1's website, they do note that you only use 8 of those. So that should be it. And then we can get this line back up and start putting the springs and everything in. Yeah, make sure that lines up and goes in nice and tight. All right, so first make sure that this little gear here is pointing straight to the back of the bike. This gasket's got a couple little bends in it, doesn't want to stay perfect. That's gonna screw us up. Come on. Oh, and by the way, doing this too, if you just leave your bike on the side stand and not put it on the pit stands, you don't even have to drain the oil. Good little tip. Okay, so, ah, shit, I did it again. All right, I'm gonna end up editing out half of this. Okay, pull that gear right out. There we go, and you can line him right up. That's what the trick was. Start over with our new gasket. Okay. That's lined up, that's lined up. Oh shit. And we're missing something. There we go. Shit, see, now my clutch perch is too far out. Now that's pretty much it. You want to make sure that it's pretty much lined up with that little notch up to that notch. And I also looked up the torque specs, so that main hub nut for the actual basket down inside there, that's supposed to have that punch in on the corner of it. That is 70, and then the spring Allen bolts on the actual the clutch springs, those were I think 14, 13, 12, 13, or 14. And then these little guys here, I think it ends up being 7.5 foot-pounds. So we'll get all these guys in, snug down, and torque them all up, and then we'll fire it up. So that should be it. That's your clutch replacement, new clutch kit. It's actually not that bad doing it yourself if you have an Aprilia, some hand tools, and a little common sense. So I'm gonna button this up, and we'll get the clutch half-ass adjusted, and we'll fire her up and see how she runs. All right, if you guys got any questions or comments, comment below, like and subscribe. I put out a few videos. I'm not trying to get rich off of YouTube, but you know, people subscribe. It is nice knowing that they do appreciate some of the videos I put out. Some of them are ripping on the highway, some of them are just wheelies, and this one obviously is some maintenance and more of a technical how-to. All right, thanks for watching, guys.